It began with a harmless thread and a casual edit. Midnight corrections, missing OP, mod notes that stop mid-sentence. Refresh if you want, see what disappears next. This is Lermo Stories. No avatars, no alibis. Lights off, tabs open, heart racing. I work remotely, UX designer for a fintech startup. The kind of job where you live in Google Docs and Figma with Slack buzzing in the background. I move around a lot, different cafes, different neighborhoods. It helps me think. It keeps me sane. Last Monday, I was at this cafe off Hawthorne, exposed brick, plants hanging from the ceiling, indie playlists on loop. I got my usual, oat, flat white, window seat. About 30 minutes in, I noticed a guy 2 tables over. Late 40s maybe, short black hair, nondescript clothes, cheap-looking sunglasses. He wasn't on a laptop or phone, no book, no bag, just sitting there with a tiny, untouched espresso, still, watching nothing. Or maybe everything. I glanced at him a couple times, he never looked back, but I had the feeling he was listening, like when you know someone's reading your screen over your shoulder, that exact sensation. I left earlier than usual, shook it off. People are weird sometimes. Tuesday, I went somewhere completely different, across town. New spot, very white and bright, minimalist, clean lines, expensive toasts, staff and aprons. I sat near the back, trying to shake off the lingering tension. He walked in 20 minutes later. Same sunglasses, same clothes, no bag, no device. He stood near the counter, didn't order, didn't move, just scanned the place slowly until his gaze landed on me. He didn't react, just stood there, then walked out. I didn't finish my coffee. Wednesday, I drove 25 minutes out to a cafe by the university. Small, hidden behind a bookstore. I've only been there once before. I've never posted it online. I was mid-project when I saw his reflection. Chrome surface on the espresso machine, same glasses, sitting silently at the counter, hands clasped. I didn't look at him directly. I packed up, walked out the side door, fast but not panicked. As I stepped into the alley, I heard a chair move. I locked myself in the car, sat there, breathing shallow, thought about calling someone, but what would I even say? Later, I checked Instagram. Private account, only close friends. New follow request. No photo, random-looking username. The bio said, "Nice coffee spot today." The next morning, I told myself I'd work from home, but I couldn't. And that's when it really started. Thursday morning, I left my apartment around 8:15. I didn't post anything, didn't text anyone where I was going. I picked a cafe inside a hotel downtown. Polished floors, lobby music, mostly business travelers, no regulars, no locals. I ordered a black coffee and sat by a potted tree near the concierge desk. From where I was, I could see the entrance, the counter, the entire lounge. I chose that table on purpose. I wanted to feel in control. He came in at 9:03. I saw him before he saw me. He hesitated at the door, only for a second, then walked over to the far wall and sat in a leather chair half turned away. No drink, no menu. This time I stared. I wanted him to know I saw him. His glasses reflected too much light to see his eyes, but I could tell. He knew. He sat there for maybe 15 minutes. No phone, no watch, just perfectly still. Then he stood up and left. I felt cold. Not scared exactly, just hollow. Like my body was watching itself breathe. That night I Googled everything I could. Stranger following me, man appears at coffee shops, stalker laws, restraining orders, Reddit threads. Most of the advice was vague. Nothing fit exactly. No one follows you like this without a reason, but what reason could make someone show up to 5 different places in 4 days without saying a word, without touching you or talking, just existing in the periphery? Friday, I stayed home, kept the curtains closed, put my phone in airplane mode, didn't open my laptop until afternoon. Around 3:40, someone buzzed my building. I froze. It buzzed once, then again, then nothing. I didn't answer. I didn't move, just watched the light above the door fade out. A few minutes later, I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty, but there was something on the floor, a folded napkin from one of the cafes. I recognized the logo. Inside was a single sugar packet. No note, no handwriting, nothing else. I threw it out, locked everything, double-checked the windows. On Saturday, I left town. I didn't tell anyone. Booked a train ticket that morning, took only my laptop and a backpack. Rode 3 hours north to a coastal city where no one I knew lived. Checked into a cheap hotel near the harbor. Quiet, gray streets, the kind of place with seagulls and rusted benches. Sunday, I walked into a random cafe near the docks. Cold air, chipped tiles. There were only 3 people inside. 2 old women by the window and him. Already sitting, already waiting. He didn't react when I saw him. He didn't move at all. Just sat there like he'd been carved from stone. His glasses were fogged slightly from the salt air. I almost walked right back out, but something in me, stubbornness maybe, made me sit down. I chose the farthest table. I kept my hands on my lap because I didn't trust them not to shake. I tried to open my laptop, couldn't focus. My fingers hovered over the keys, but nothing came. Eventually, I looked up. He was gone. No sound, no footsteps. The door hadn't chimed. I checked the bathroom, asked the woman behind the counter. She looked confused and said only 3 customers had come in all day. Me and those 2 sweet old ladies. I left. Back at the hotel, I finally turned my phone back on. 10 notifications, all from a number I didn't recognize. No name, no message previews. Just the same image sent 10 times. When I opened one, it was blurry, a photo of me, taken from behind. I'm sitting at a table, laptop open, hands folded. You can see the back of my head, my coffee cup, the edge of my screen, but not the cafe I was in today. The photo was from Monday, that first place, the one on Hawthorne. I zoomed in. In the reflection of the window behind me, barely visible, there he was, sitting exactly where I remember him. I deleted every photo, blocked the number, threw my phone in the drawer. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw those glasses. Not the man, just the glasses. I checked out the next morning, got on a bus heading nowhere in particular. Small towns, diner coffee, old buildings. I stopped checking into hotels, just rode, kept moving. Eventually, I ended up in a library in a town I'd never heard of. I sat in the back with my laptop next to a dusty shelf full of outdated tech manuals. I opened Figma, started sketching again. For the first time in days, I almost forgot. Then, I heard a cough. Soft, measured. I looked over my shoulder. 2 rows back, between stacks of books. Someone stood just out of view. I could only see the edge of a dark sleeve. And on the table beside them, unmistakable, a pair of cheap sunglasses, facing me. I don't even know why I'm posting this. I think I just need to write it down somewhere. It happened last Tuesday. Not even a weird time. 3:40 p.m., bright outside, the kind of afternoon where the worst thing you expect is a price scan error, or someone's kid melting down in aisle 6. I was at the Evergreen Supercenter off Mill Row. It's one of those stores that's trying to be a little bit of everything. Half groceries, half electronics, and a weirdly big section of lawn chairs and inflatable pools, even though we're nowhere near a beach. I had a list. Chicken breast, oat milk, frozen peas, deodorant. I remember that because I was trying to make the trip quick, just in and out before I picked up my dog from the groomer. I kept looking at my phone for the time, tapping the cart handle nervously while waiting in line. That's when I noticed the guy behind me. At first, I thought he was just standing too close, like no concept of personal space. His cart was completely empty. I remember thinking that was weird. He didn't even have a basket. Just standing there. No items. Just him. Close enough that I could feel the heat from his coat. He was wearing this long, dark brown jacket. It looked damp. Not soaking, but like he'd just walked through a mist. I glanced over my shoulder once, politely. One of those, "Oh, sorry, I need space," glances. And he didn't react. Didn't smile. Didn't move. Just looked at me. He had a really odd face. Not ugly, just hard to place. Pale, like he was either sick or hadn't been outside in a while. His eyes looked wet. That's the only way I can describe it. Like he'd been crying, maybe. But he didn't seem sad, just alert. I stepped forward a little in line. He stepped forward too. The same exact distance. That's when I realized something. He didn't have a wallet, or keys, or a phone. No shopping list, no basket, nothing. Just him, his coat, and those slow, heavy footsteps right behind me every time the line moved. I started to get uncomfortable. I was trying to figure out if he was maybe following someone else, but it was just us. No one behind him. The woman in front of me was too busy arguing with the cashier about coupons to notice anything. I kept pretending to scroll through my phone, watching him from the corner of my eye. His mouth was slightly open. I don't know why that detail stuck with me, like he was about to say something, but never did. 10 minutes passed, 15, 20. The line moved painfully slow. He stayed right behind me the whole time. Then, I saw something that made me freeze. He hadn't blinked. Not once. I'm not exaggerating. I watched him. I started checking every few seconds, pretending to scratch my nose or stretch my neck just to glance at his face. His eyes were fixed, unmoving. It started giving me that weird static feeling in my scalp, like when you think someone's staring through you. At some point I considered just leaving, abandoning the cart and walking out. But that felt dramatic, and what would I even say if someone asked? Sorry, there's a guy behind me with watery eyes and no groceries. Still, I shifted my body so I wasn't facing him. I felt exposed. The fluorescent lights above made everything feel too bright and fake, like a stage set. I could hear the hum of the overhead fans. I could hear his breathing. No, not breathing. A sound that should have been breathing but wasn't. It was more like the faint sound of teeth parting. You don't usually hear that sound, it's too subtle, but that day I did. Repeatedly. It was like he kept slowly opening his mouth wider behind me over and over. Not yawning, not sighing, just parting his teeth, like stretching a hinge. My turn came. The cashier was new, young girl, maybe 19, lots of bracelets and nervous energy. She smiled at me, scanned my oat milk, started talking about how they were out of bags again. I kept nodding, barely listening. All I could think about was him. I paid, took my receipt, tried to move fast but not suspiciously fast. I started walking toward the exit and forced myself not to look back. That worked, until I felt it again. His coat brushed my arm. He had followed me out of the line, still no groceries, no receipt, just stepped away and followed me, as if that was his place now. Behind me, not in line, just behind. I sped up. The exit is to the right of the self-checkout, big glass doors, automatic, always slow to open. I hated how long they took. I hated hearing those dragging footsteps follow me without hurrying, like he knew I wouldn't run. I pushed through the half-open doors and out into the parking lot. It was warm, maybe 70 degrees, but I felt cold sweat across my back. I stopped beside my car, dug for my keys. My hands shook so bad I dropped them. I could hear steps behind me. I turned. He wasn't there. I scanned the lot. Nothing. No brown coat, no pale face, no one even remotely similar. The parking lot wasn't empty, but there weren't many people out there. And he was gone, like he'd dissolved into the pavement. I got in my car and locked the doors. Before I pulled out, I checked my rearview mirror. He was standing behind the cart return. Still, just watching me.
I didn't drive off right away. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I just stared long enough, I'd understand what I was looking at. He was too still. Not frozen, it wasn't that, but unnaturally precise. His hands rested at his sides, not clenched, not relaxed. His shoulders were too square. No phone, no earbuds, nothing to pretend he had a reason to just be there. Just watching. I wanted to believe he was someone's weird uncle waiting to be picked up. Maybe autistic or just spaced out. Maybe on something. But I couldn't make that fit with what I'd seen in the store. That feeling, you know when someone's staring at you for a reason, even if they never say it? It's like they want something and you're just not in on the script. I finally reversed out of the space, slow, trying not to let on that I was panicking. His head turned slightly as I passed him. Just his head. His body stayed still. I didn't go straight home. I drove around the block twice, stopped at a car wash, even pulled into a gas station and sat there for 10 minutes with the engine off. I just didn't want him knowing where I lived. I couldn't shake the feeling that if I went straight home, he'd be waiting later. Somehow. When I did get back to my apartment, I left all the groceries in the trunk. The next morning, I checked my building's security footage from the hallway. We have one of those little wall-mounted displays near the mailboxes. Nothing fancy. Nothing strange, no one matching him. But later that afternoon, I opened my freezer to put something away, and the frozen peas I bought weren't there. Neither was the oat milk. Neither was any of it. I went back to my trunk thinking maybe I forgot the bags. Nothing. The trunk was empty, no bags, no receipt. It was like I never went shopping at all. But I know I did. I paid. I heard the beep of each item scanned. I even had a faint red mark on my wrist where the plastic handle had cut in. I remember adjusting the weight as I walked out. It's been 5 days now. Nothing else has happened. Exactly. I haven't seen him again. But I can't bring myself to go to that store. I drive past it on purpose, even if it takes longer. And here's the part I can't explain. Every time I wait in line now, any line, anywhere, I feel it. That breath behind me. That pressure of someone standing just a little too close.
When I turn around, it's never him. But there's always someone, and they're always just watching. I've been staying at my parents' place while they're abroad, watching the house and their old Labrador. It's a quiet suburb, no through traffic, middle-class families, trimmed hedges, slow afternoons. I work remotely, so the setup's perfect. That day, around 2:30 p.m., I was at the kitchen table, eating instant noodles and writing up some stuff for work. Sunlight was spilling across the floor, dogs snoring under the table. Doorbell rang. I'd been expecting a delivery from IKEA, some wall shelving, so I didn't think much of it. I get up and walk to the door. Dog lifts his head but doesn't bark. He's almost completely deaf. Outside is a guy in a delivery jacket, blue with reflective strips, early 20s maybe, clean-shaven but with this totally unreadable face, blank, no smile, no tension, just still. His hands are in his jacket pockets. There's no package, no clipboard, no dolly. I only unlocked the top bolt on the door, kept the bottom one latched. Delivery? I asked. He nodded. Furniture. Where's the box? In the van. I just need a signature. He held out his hand. It was empty. No tablet, no paper. Can I see the order number? I asked. Again, he nodded slowly. Just open the door. I'll show you everything. Something was off. Not just the lack of package, but the way he moved. Too deliberate, too slow. Like someone acting out a memory of how a delivery guy should behave. I said, you need to give me a name or order number, anything. He just stood there, head tilted a little now, like he was listening for something inside the house. Open the door, he said again. I'll show you. I shut the top lock. He didn't flinch, didn't leave. His hand slowly dropped back to his side. Then, without warning, he stepped forward and bumped the door with his shoulder, not hard, just enough to make a sound. I stepped back. The dog stood up behind me, growling. I grabbed my phone, dialed 911. Another bump, louder this time. Not slamming, just controlled force, like he was testing it. He wasn't shouting or demanding, just pressing. The dispatcher picked up. I backed into the kitchen and whispered, giving my address. From the front hallway, a third thud, then silence. When I peeked through the peephole, he was gone. Just the empty porch. Cops showed up maybe 7 minutes later. 2 cruisers. I'd stayed away from the door after he disappeared, kept the dog near me in the kitchen. I explained everything, and they swept the street. No van, no sign of him, no tire marks out front. They asked about security cams. There's a ring cam at the door, but I told them it hasn't worked in months. My dad unplugged it because it was draining bandwidth. Never reconnected it. They just nodded. One of the officers looked at me for a moment and asked if I wanted to file an official report. I said yeah. They left after 20 minutes, but I kept pacing the living room for an hour after. It wasn't just that someone weird showed up. It was the way he knew to come when I was alone, middle of the day, no neighbors around. I went back to the kitchen and sat there with the dog under the table again. I called IKEA support just to check if there was really a delivery scheduled. Nothing. They said the order hadn't shipped yet. So who the hell was that guy? I can't sleep, not from fear exactly, but from this crawling tension I couldn't shake. Every time the house creaked, I flinched. Every car that passed made me check the windows, but nothing happened. Next morning, I tried to pretend it was over. I walked the dog around 9 a.m., same route I always take, just a loop around the block. One house over across the street, there's this older couple, maybe in their 60s. The husband, Mr. Stenner, was out watering his lawn. He waved and I crossed over to say hi. Everything all right? He asked, nodding toward the house. Police were here yesterday. I told him the short version. Guy posing as a delivery driver tried to push in. His expression didn't change, but after a second he said, "You know you're not the first." I stared at him. What do you mean? 2 weeks ago, Marcy down the street had someone like that. Different face, same routine, middle of the day, no package, just wanted in. I asked what happened. He said Marcy didn't answer the door, watched from the upstairs window while the guy stood there. 15 minutes. Then he left. No report filed. Creeps come and go, he said, and shrugged. But this one's got patience. His tone was calm. Too calm, like he wasn't surprised. I went back inside. By lunch, I checked every window lock twice. At 1:12 p.m., the doorbell rang again. I froze. Didn't move a muscle. The bell didn't ring again, but the dog's head turned toward the hallway. I crept around the edge of the living room and peeked toward the front door from the side, staying out of direct view. No shadows under the door, but I could feel someone was out there. I grabbed my phone. No movement on the porch cam feed because it still wasn't working, just that blank, gray loading screen. I went to the back of the house, upstairs, to look through the guest bedroom window that had a partial view of the porch. He was standing there again. Same guy, same jacket, same expression. This time, though, his hands were behind his back, not in his pockets, just standing still, as if waiting for something. He didn't knock, didn't ring again, just stood staring at the door. I watched for 3 straight minutes. No movement, like a statue. Then he tilted his head upward, slowly, and looked directly at the window I was in. I ducked instantly. My heart started pounding. I don't know how he saw me. The glare, the screen. He shouldn't have known. When I looked again a few seconds later, he was walking down the driveway, calm, measured, like he didn't care if I saw him. I stayed upstairs, lights off, watching the street. He walked to the corner and turned. No van, no car, just walked. 15 minutes later, I finally went down and checked the front step. Nothing there. No note, no package. But the door handle felt warm, like someone had held it tightly for a long time. I didn't open the door again that day, didn't even go outside. I sat in the living room with the blinds closed, phone in hand, watching the street like a hawk. That night, I dragged the dresser in front of the door and shoved a chair under the handle. Dog kept pacing, restless. Around 3:20 a.m., I heard a sound from the back gate. Not loud, just the latch clicking. I didn't look. I didn't want to know. But I didn't sleep, not until the sky started turning pale. And now, I keep wondering. He didn't want to rob anything. Didn't look in the windows. Didn't try to be sneaky. He wanted me to open the door. Just open it. That's all. And I think about how close I was. How easy it would have been. Just a second of doubt. I don't know what would have happened, but I don't think I'd still be here.
Colin asked me to house sit while he was in Oregon for his sister's wedding. Week-long thing. I'd stayed over once before, briefly, but never alone. His house is one of those thin Victorian ones, crammed between lots that never got developed. Gray paint, tall and slumped like it forgot how to hold itself up. The house always looked misplaced, way out at the edge of town, surrounded by brittle grass and a crumbling fence. I said yes, mostly because I needed the silence. It's hard to explain how quiet it is out there. Not peaceful, just the kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing. The first thing I noticed when I got there was that it still smelled like someone else's life. Old coffee, mothballs, dry wood. I asked him which room I should sleep in, and he just said, "Not the 3rd floor, stay on the 2nd. No laugh, no explanation. I asked if there was a reason, and he shrugged like he didn't want to get into it. The 2nd floor was fine. Guest room, tiny desk, weird old painting of a stairwell hung over the bed. I unpacked, made some tea, and settled in. Next day, around lunch, I went looking for an outlet strip. Figured I'd check the hallway drawers upstairs. When I reached the top of the staircase, I felt something cold. Not air, just the kind of chill that settles in your chest. The 3rd floor landing is short, one door on each side, and at the end, a tall window. That window was open, wide. No screen, no latch, just gaping open like someone had been standing there. I walked to it slowly. The air outside barely moved, no wind. I shut it, took both hands and a firm push, felt stuck from age. The latch clicked. Didn't think much of it until a few hours later when I glanced out from the backyard. You can't see that window from the ground. I walked around, checked from different angles. The way the eaves hang, it's hidden unless you're in that hallway. That bothered me more than it should have. That evening, I started hearing small noises, dull knocks, occasional creaks, normal, probably. Still, I didn't like how the sounds came from above. At 5 p.m., I went back up. The window was open again. Fully open. Same position, same angle. I stared for a long time before stepping closer. There were smudges on the glass, faint, dry, like a palm had rested there. I latched it hard this time. Didn't sleep much. Every sound made me flinch.
The next morning, I didn't go upstairs. Not at first. I stayed in the kitchen, drank cold coffee, kept the radio on low just to fill the air. Every so often, I'd glance at the ceiling like I expected something to come through it. At around 10, I caved and went up to check. Slow steps. I made sure I didn't look toward the end of the hallway until I was at the top. It was closed. Latched, too. I stood there a long time, unsure if I should be relieved or more unsettled. I kept telling myself I was probably misremembering, or maybe I'd closed it last night out of habit and forgot. But I knew I hadn't. Still, it was easier to lie to myself. I turned and went back downstairs, tried to focus on work. Around 3 p.m., I heard something fall. Not a creak or tap, an actual thump, from above, like something heavy had dropped onto the floor. I just sat there at the table, staring at the ceiling, not moving. After a minute, I stood and grabbed the heavy flashlight from the hallway closet. Not because it was dark, just because it was metal. I climbed the stairs again, slower this time. Each step felt hollow. When I reached the landing, I didn't look at the window. I opened the door to the left, a small study. Dusty shelves, no sign of anything out of place. The other room was locked. The key wasn't on any of the labeled rings Colin had left me. So I finally turned to the window. Open again, wider than before. This time, the bottom half had been pushed all the way up, almost touching the top frame. The air in the hallway was dead still. I stepped forward, heart thudding, and noticed something new. Small, white flecks on the wood just beneath the window. I knelt. Paint, chipped, from the frame. Like someone had been forcing it open, but not from inside. The latch wasn't broken. It had been undone. I closed it again, hands shaking, locked it tight. Stayed there for a few seconds, watching the glass. My reflection looked pale, warped. I walked downstairs, grabbed my bag, and almost left. I swear. I stood with the front door open, one foot on the porch. But I didn't want to leave the house empty. Around dusk, I heard the boards creak again. 2 slow steps, like someone shifting their weight in one spot. I called Colin, asked if anything weird ever happened there. Long pause. Then he said, "Don't go up there after dark." I asked why. He didn't answer, just said, "It doesn't stop if you notice it." Then he hung up. That was the worst part, the way he said it. It doesn't stop if you notice it. Just waited for the sound. I stayed on the couch with every light on, tried not to blink too long. At some point, I started counting sounds. Floor pops, distant knocks, wind brushing the outside wall even though the trees didn't move. I wanted to believe it was just the house adjusting, but the sounds didn't shift like a house breathes. They paced. At 2:13, I heard the latch, a very specific metal click. I froze, waited, then another. Wood on wood. I didn't move, just stared at the ceiling. It came from the 3rd floor, right above me. I thought maybe if I didn't look, it'd stop, like acknowledging it would make it real. I don't know how long I sat there, maybe an hour. But eventually, I noticed something else. A new sound. Not footsteps or creaking, just breathing. Slow. Inhale. Long exhale. Faint, but too close. I walked to the staircase. It was dark now. I'd left the hallway light on earlier, but it was out. I stared up, and something about the shadows felt wrong. Not darker, just flatter. I held the flashlight tight and climbed, feet on the edges to avoid noise. When I got to the 2nd floor, I stopped. The breathing was gone, but the air was colder. The window wasn't visible from here, but I already knew. I climbed. 3rd floor landing. That stretch of hallway felt longer than I remembered. I don't know why I kept going. Maybe I needed to see it open again, to make it real. And it was. The window was open. The same perfect gap. Only this time, the floor beneath it was wet, just in that spot. A few dark drops soaked into the wood. No trail, no footprints. I pointed the flashlight at the glass. It caught something. Not outside. Inside. The reflection. There was a shape. A figure behind me. But when I spun around, nothing. No sound. No shift. Just the cold. I backed away, keeping the flashlight on the window. The latch was still up. The lock unlatched. I didn't touch it. I turned and walked down, slowly, flashlight off now. Didn't want to see my reflection in anything. When I got to the bottom, the front door was open. Not wide, just enough. I closed it. Didn't even question how. Next morning, I packed and left before sunrise. Didn't clean. Didn't text Colin. Just drove until the house felt far enough behind me. I don't think I slept for 2 days. Colin never asked how it went. When he got back, he just said, "Thanks," handed me a bottle of whiskey, and changed the subject. A week later, I got a message from him. "Did you open the window again? I swear I latched it before I left." I didn't reply, because I didn't. And I know he didn't either. No one opens that window. Not really.
I turned off the lights, I ended the recording, but the red light on my camera, it's still on. I can hear someone breathing behind me. It's quiet. Careful. Like they don't want to interrupt. If this part made it into the video, don't rewatch it. Just stop here. This was Lermo Stories. Ending transmission. I think.